All right, let's dive into one of the biggest, most important words in all of Christian theology, justification. I mean, what does it actually mean to be made right with God? It's a huge question, one that's been debated for centuries, and today we're going to explore the Catholic Church's really profound and honestly hope-filled answer to it. So our starting point is this absolutely crucial verse from St. Paul's letter to the Romans. And, he makes a super bold claim here. He's basically saying that following the law, even if you do it perfectly, can't make you right with God. That one idea, it's the key that unlocks this entire conversation.
And then, as if that's not enough, Paul adds this really fascinating layer in chapter 5. He actually makes a distinction, right, between being reconciled and being saved. So it's not just one thing, it's like a two-part reality. We're reconciled by his death, and then we're saved by his life. So what in the world does that actually mean?
Okay, so to get to the bottom of it, here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle the central question of what justification even is. Then, we'll look at the two big ways of understanding it. After that, we're diving back into Paul's letters, connecting it all to church history, and then we'll wrap up by looking at what it all means for living a new life in grace. All right, let's jump in. Section 1. Justification. The central question. To really get a handle on the different views out there, we've got to get right to the heart of the issue. So, what does this all boil down to? When God justifies someone, what is that? What's actually happening? Is it just a change on paper? Like a change in your legal status before Him? Or is it something way deeper? Something that actually changes you, the person? That right there is the fundamental question we have to answer. And that question, it leads us perfectly into our second section. Declaration or transformation. We're going to look at the two major historical answers to that very question. Okay, so you've got two big ideas here. On one side, you have the Reformation view, which sees it as a legal declaration. Think of it like a courtroom. God, the judge, declares you not guilty by imputing or crediting Christ's righteousness to your account. Your legal status changes, but you haven't necessarily. Then you have the Catholic view. This is all about a transformative renewal. Here, God's grace is infused. It's literally poured into your soul. It's not just a change in status. It's a change from the inside out.
And this Catholic position was made crystal clear way back at the Council of Trent. They said, look, justification isn't just about wiping the slate clean, forgiving sins. It's also about the sanctification and renewal of the interior man. In other words, it's the whole shebang, forgiveness and transformation.
So yeah, it really just boils down to this one question. Are we just declared righteous? Kind of like a legal fiction where God just pretends we're good because of Jesus? Or does His grace actually truly begin the process of making us righteous? That's the core difference right there. Okay, so with that huge difference in mind, let's jump into our third section, unpacking Paul's letters. We're going to see how this Catholic understanding builds directly from those verses in Romans we looked at right at the start. So when Paul says we aren't justified by works of the law, he's not knocking morality or saying the law is bad, not at all. Think of the law like an MRI machine. It's an amazing diagnostic tool, right? It shows us God's perfect, holy standard, and then it shines a big, bright light on exactly where we fall short. It's fantastic at showing us the problem, the disease of sin, but it just doesn't have the cure. Yeah, and the Catechism puts it perfectly. It says the law, it can show you the destination on the map, but it can't give you the gas to actually get there. For that, you need something else, a divine power boost, what the Church calls the grace of the Spirit. And this brings us right back to that incredible verse, Romans 5:10. Paul lays out two separate but totally connected steps. Step 1, reconciliation. Christ's death on the cross tears down the wall that sin built between us and God. The obstacle is gone, but it doesn't end there. Step 2 is salvation through His life. The resurrection isn't just something that happened in a history book. No way. It's the living source of a brand new divine life that actually gets communicated to us. So what does that mean for us? It means being saved by His life isn't some one-time past tense event. It's not a one-and-done deal. It's an ongoing, living, breathing relationship. It's about being plugged into Christ's own risen life, right here, right now. A real, living union with a living Lord.
Now, this whole idea of a transformative, ongoing union with God, it might sound kind of new, but it's not by a long shot. Let's move to our fourth section, the witness of history. And you'll see that if you go back to the early church, this idea is, it's absolutely everywhere.
I mean, just check out this quote from St. Irenaeus, writing all the way back in the 2nd century. He says, "The whole point of Jesus becoming human was so that we could become divine. He became what we are so we could become what he is. It's this beautiful, great exchange." And then a century later, you've got St. Athanasius, and he says it even more boldly. Get this, "He was made man that we might be made God." Wow. I mean, that's a cornerstone of early Christian teaching. And of course, they don't mean we become God by nature, but it points to something incredibly profound.
And this powerful, kind of mind-blowing idea, it actually has a name. Theologians call it theosis. You might also hear it called deification or divinization.
So what is theosis? It's this transformative process where we, through grace, get to share in God's own divine life. It's becoming, by grace, what God is by nature. And it's not about leaving our humanity behind, not at all. It's about our humanity being healed, lifted up, and brought into this incredible communion with God himself. It really speaks to that deep, deep longing we all have, not just to be forgiven, but to actually be changed for the better.
Okay, let's bring this all home in our final section, grace and a new life. So what does this big, transformative vision actually look like in our day-to-day lives?
Now, a really common question comes up right about here. If we're being transformed, and if our actions and choices matter, well, does that mean we're somehow earning our way to heaven? Are we saving ourselves?
And St. Paul answers that with a very clear no. Absolutely not. He says, "It is God who works in you." See, the Church is crystal clear on this. The very first spark of grace is a 100% free gift. We can't earn it. But, and this is key, that gift doesn't just leave us sitting on the sidelines. It actually empowers us. It invites us to get in the game and cooperate, so that even our desire to do good and our ability to actually do it are themselves gifts of His grace working through us.
So you see, this is the really hope-filled vision we've been talking about. It's a vision of more. It's not just that we're forgiven, we're actually reconciled, brought back into the family. It's not just that we're acquitted, we're adopted as sons and daughters. And we're not just declared righteous, we are truly actually being made new from the inside out. And the best part? All of it, from beginning to end, is a gift of grace.
And so we end up right back where we started, with that incredible promise from St. Paul. Our hope isn't just anchored in something that happened 2,000 years ago on a cross, as amazing as that is. It's more. Our hope is in who Christ is right now, a living Lord, who is continually pouring out his life into ours, to save us, to heal us, and ultimately, to make us more like himself.